it's your hair. And I feel like we shouldn't call our natural hair or things, our natural hair should never be considered a trend, because then it looks small. Then that's a lot of the reasons why certain laws can't get passed, such as the Crown Act, because they look at it as, well, these are trends, these are just styles, they have no significance. You can wear your natural hair, you just can't, we're just not going to make it illegal for someone to fire you for having your hair in a lock style, right? So hey, welcome to Be Centric TV. My name is Nita. Welcome to those who are joining us for the very first time, and thank you to those who are returning. If you have not already, be sure to subscribe to the channel. Also, be sure to click that notification bell so that you are notified when I upload videos. All right, so today we're going to talk about my lock journey. It has been 5 years, y'all. It was March 14th, marked 5 years. So I just want to talk about my journey, some things that I've experienced along the way regarding having locks, and just some knowledge on how it kind of translated into real life as well. Also going to talk about a few misconceptions people have about getting locks or having locks, if anyone who's watching this is thinking about getting them, or anything like that. So number one thing that I really focused on is simplicity is key. Sometimes, I know it's cliche, you've heard the phrase less is more, right? And sometimes less is more. And I said sometimes, not all the time. So, and when it comes to your hair, that's including the styling, that's including the number of retwists, and also the amount of product. Like, as black people, black women specifically, we have this thing of always feeling like we have to have hella product in our hair. And a lot of times you're doing more harm than good. So being able to simplify my process, even when I was a loose natural, I talked about it in previous videos. Once I start toning down and using all these unnecessary products, my hair became a lot more manageable. And the same goes for your locks. You have to take care of them, but people who tend to use, if you know people who use too many products, you will start to see a lot of buildup. Their hair looks dry, or it just looks like you can see the lint balls. And it's not saying you're not going to get anything in your hair. You will. Something's going to get locked up one way or the other, but you don't want it to look dirty, And also with the amount of styling and retwist, a lot of people, and there's nothing wrong with always wanting the clean look in your, not clean cut, but the clean look when it comes to locks, always retwist it. That's a beautiful thing, but less is more, because you also have to think about that's still a form of manipulation. And that constant manipulation, overdoing it, will eventually start kind of thinning out your hair if you are not careful. That's why you also must take care of your scalp and the hair that you do, especially the hair that's growing out of the root that's not locked already. Overstyling can sometimes pull your hair and cause traction alopecia in somebody. That's when you start losing your edges, and your locks can come out. They can fall out. Like, y'all, I just had a lock come out maybe like last month, and that's because I do wear my hair up a lot. So that's another issue too. That's my problem. But I do that because I know it sounds crazy, but I don't like my hair like touching my neck a lot. It's weird. I just don't. So I wear my hair up a lot. So one day just got out the bed and boom, it was a lock on my pillow. I said, but I did get it reattached, so it's back in. But simplicity definitely translated into my life because I think about the lock journey and how we focus so much on how our locks are going to look at the end when we get to that mature state. And that's also in life. We focus on the end, and you should focus on your goal. You definitely should focus on your goal and know where you want to go and know what you want. But a lot of times we either consciously or subconsciously take for granted those baby steps, those steps that it takes to get to that goal. We don't tend to appreciate it. A lot of people, we just take those moments for granted. And when it comes to the locks, a lot of people do that. They always want to just skip everything and go to the end. But you have to trust the process, and you have to go through what y'all like to call, but I don't like to call it that, the ugly phase. So I feel like this is a misconception. Some may differ, but I don't believe there is an ugly phase when it comes to the growth of your locks, right? It may be an uncomfortable stage. It may not be your favorite stage, but I don't think it's ugly. I look at it like a baby. When you're a baby phase, I don't believe there's ugly babies. Y'all can say what you want. There ain't no ugly babies in my eyes, just like there's no ugly phase in locks. So I wish I would stop saying that. Not that I get offended by or anything. Say what you want to say. It's just funny to me. I find it funny though. I just feel like each phase is unique, and each phase is going to be unique to your journey. And you don't want to compare your journey to anyone's else. And that's in locks, and that's in life. You know, you can see someone locks and be like, oh, I want my locks, that's that size or this size or to look like this. And you can go get them done, your parts done to where it would be that size and everything. But just like in life, it's going to be a different process, not necessarily process, but it's going to be your journey is going to be a little different. How you look at yourself is going to be different. So your journey is never going to be the same as someone else's. Nothing wrong with aspiring to have something, but appreciate your phase, and it will come. Trust the process. Another thing is authenticity. And not that I've never been authentic to myself, but I will say as a loose natural and prior to being natural, I kept up on the hair trends. My hair stayed done. I always had a new style or something. And there's still nothing wrong with that. And some people may even argue that locks are trendy. And I don't think so. I think faux locks are trendy. I think when you try to get a certain aesthetic of locks, it could be trendy, or certain styles may be trendy, but I don't look at locks as being trendy. I feel like when people just say, oh, it's a trend, I feel like you just trivialize it. I think you make it smaller than what it is, because it's our hair. It's our natural hair. If we do manipulate it to look a certain way, but at the end of the day, if you didn't, your hair was still locked. It's your hair. And I feel like we shouldn't call our natural hair our natural hair should never be considered a trend, because then it looks small. Then that's a lot of the reasons why certain laws can't get passed, such as the Crown Act, because they look at it as, well, these are trends, these are just styles, they have no significance. You can wear your natural hair, you just can't. We're just not going to make it illegal for someone to fire you for having your hair in a lock style, right? So don't minimize your hair and call it a trend if you have locks. But authenticity. But yeah, I think I just outgrew that phase in my life, and I was definitely one of those people that said I would never get locks, because I just felt like, oh, I'm not gonna be able to. I said the saying, I can't style my hair, I can't do this, I can't do that. And I can, just like people who had it told me, I can do all those things. Of course I can't. There are going to be some limitations, and being that my hair is very thick, there are certain limitations and stuff that I just don't want to do anymore at this point anyway. And another thing is forgetting what people think. Forgetting what people think about me, and letting go of how people perceive I should be. And also letting go somewhat of what I think I should be instead of just being. Like trying to attain a certain aesthetic or trying to look a certain way to match a personality or do this and do that or things like that. Instead of just being, instead of just being who I am and what I feel in the moment. Because there are so many misconceptions in the past and for some people currently that if you have locks, for women, it's for earthy, what they like to say, earthy women. And I've been called an earthy woman, which is fine, whatever. But, or either for men, they're for like thuggish men. And I feel like these are all misconceptions. You have women in the boardroom, professional women and men that have locks or want locks. People from all walks of life. It's not a thuggish hairstyle. And it's just not an earthy girl hairstyle. I feel like I got tired of, like, I don't like to be placed in a box because I feel like I am multifaceted and there are many different parts of me and different desires and aspirations that I have. And I don't like to be placed in a box. Also, a lot of people, there's people out there that still to this day might not want to get it because they fear not getting a job, not looking professional enough and different things like that. Like, believe it or not, there are people who still fear that, and they rightfully so. Just like I explained, you can get discriminated against and it not be anything. Like, if they decide they don't want to hire you because you have braids or you have locks, they can say that. They can do that. That's why it was important for the Crown Act to pass, because it would make it against the law to discriminate based on a person's hairstyle, right? I am not my hair. And as much as our hair holds cultural significance, historical significance, and I talk about those things on this channel, we are not our hair, but our hair is part of us. My hair is part of me. It is significant in my life, but it is not my life. I feel like for Black people, we really must remember that. Me understanding I am not my hair has made me a little less judgmental of people who start locks with extensions. They want permanent locks, but they start their locks with extensions. Okay. No, I still side eye. I'm sorry. I still side eye because I don't quite understand it. I just feel like if you're going to do the journey, do the journey. But do your thing. Don't get it twisted. I'm not policing you and how you do your hair. Do whatever it is that you want. This is just my opinion. I just feel like if it's a trendy thing to you or something that you're not truly ready to commit, just get some faux locks. Get some faux locks and call it a day. But extensions because you want to try to beat the ugly stage. I don't know how. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I'm gonna leave that alone. But do your thing, y'all. I think it's because people think it's going to be less maintenance, but there's still a lot of maintenance. And I'm pretty sure there's definitely maintenance when it comes to using extensions to start your locks and things like that, because there's definitely maintenance when you have locks. And that is definitely a misconception, is that people think that, I will say it's lower maintenance. I'll give you that. It's lower maintenance, but you still have to take care of your hair because, like I said earlier, your hair can break off, and you don't want to be around here with 5 locks in your hair, and you don't want to be around here with traction alopecia. I am telling you that a lot of you all are over manipulating your hair by getting retwist way too often. It's still a form of manipulation, and it's still pulling your hair, and that's why a lot of people with hairlines start receding a lot sooner than it probably should. I use minimum product, but I do have I put on TikTok a little while ago the products that I use because someone asked me what do I use in my hair, and if you look at the video, I'll probably put the link in the description, and I'll put in the description what am I using right now because it changes over time. But what I'm using right now, although I use a few, it looks like maybe about 6 to 8 products. I don't use those products every day. Some products are only for when I wash my hair, and then some may be for a day-to-day or every other day basis. But you must keep your hair clean. You must moisturize your hair. Please don't be putting all that beeswax in your hair. Don't put stuff that causes a lot of buildup. You don't need a lot of you don't need to really put conditioner on this part of it. You should just let the conditioner that you put on your roots run down on it and then rinse it very good, because you don't want a lot of buildup in your hair. I'm telling you now, you don't want that. It's not going to look good, and you're not going to get the results that you want. So last and definitely not least, something that has very much been prevalent in my journey, in my 5-year journey of being locked, is my increased self-love and appreciation. And like I said before, just because you get locks don't mean that this is necessarily going to happen for you, but this is my journey, and I have an increased appreciation for myself. Just loving me as is, appreciating my growth as a human, as a woman, the growth in my hair. And having locks will force you to learn patience. I've pretty much always been a patient person, but not a tolerant person, but patient person. But it's another level of patience that you do have and you do gain when you're in this journey of locks, because you kind of don't know which way it's going to go. You don't know what your journey is going to be, or how your hair is going to take. You don't know if you're going to have the type of hair that locks fast or the type of hair that unravels easily. And just because people have softer texture hair does not mean that their hair is harder to lock. I've seen people with soft texture hair who hair locked way quicker than mine. Right? So don't think it has anything to do with that. And just, I've been able to find beauty in not just having to do too much. And never that I was an extra person, but just actually being able to wake up and look at myself in my most natural state and be like, I see you, girl. I see you. And of course, the feeling is not only physical, but it definitely translates internally. And I feel like it will for most if you're on this journey, if you are actually doing the work on yourself. If you're actually looking at yourself and appreciating your natural self and your natural state, eventually it will naturally kind of boost your confidence and your self-love and your self-appreciation for who you are. And I know for many people, it may not be that deep, and that's fine. Some people just get locks just for the sake that they just want it. It's easier for them to maintain wherever it may be, and that's fine, because that's part of the reason I got into it. Like I said, my life was changing. My priorities changed, so I needed something that could kind of, take a little load off of me. But in the journey, I recognized the change in myself. And of course, it's 5 years, so you should be growing and should be learning and doing better within 5 years of yourself. But it's just something that I kind of noticed. The journeys were a little parallel, and I think that's why I wanted to talk about it, because the journeys were parallel for me. It was like, dang, this kind of lines up with how my life kind of went. A little rough here, a little there, but look at it now. It just really was something for me to think about, and maybe something for you to think about. Maybe you didn't think about it that way, and if you kind of look back on the past year or 2 years you've been locked, and kind of just look at yourself and how just something simple as hair can kind of make you be like, dang, I see me now. Looking at my physical transition really forced me to pay attention to my mental and my emotional growth and transformation. It's just it just really kind of forced me into that. Just sitting one day and just like kind of thinking about things, and was like, yeah, I see. I see. But that's my journey. I just wanted to share that with you all because, like I said, this is my 5-year Lockiversary, 5-year Lockiversary, if we're going to call it that. And let me know about yours. If you are locked, let me know in the comments. Let me know how your journey has been. If you are not and thinking about it, let me know why. Be sure to like and share this video, and be sure to subscribe to this channel. I promise y'all it's free. It ain't gonna cost you nothing. Just click that. Click it. It says subscribe, and then there's a bell next to it. Just click it. Ain't gonna cost you not a thing. Until next time, be beautiful, be black, be you, always.